So here we are again in the garage trying to pull this LS1 out of this S13. Went ahead, took off the hood, and Drift Dad had the idea of placing it on top of my S14 because that's not going to do any damage.
It's a little bit of strategy though. You all know that I don't like Alan driving that S14 with a welded diff. And I know some of you say, oh, it's safe, but I say it's not safe. And so I figured if we put a bunch of car parts on top of it, then he ain't gonna be able to drive it, and he's safe. So it's a win-win.
I'll probably just end up taking all the parts off and driving it anyways. And then, foiling his plan.
I will kick the parts around the garage and mix them up. And then the hood that's sitting on there is gonna get all scratched. Right now it's not gonna get scratched, right?
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, truce.
So it's what parents do for their children.
They're stupid children with welded diffs?
I don't want to say that.
But anyways, I think we have basically decided that we're going to try to pull the engine up and out of the front end. Keeping in mind, we've never done anything like this, so we don't know if it's going to work. But it should be interesting, to say the least, as far as how this engine's going to come out.
I've been looking forward to it, because we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to learn a lot.
I just don't want to get too stressed out with not knowing what we're doing, but I think we have a good idea. Oh, I guess one thing I can mention, I did remove the steering column thinking that by doing so, I'll have enough space here to remove the header. No, it's still stuck in there.
But you still wouldn't have the engine out with the header in, or with the steering column in. It would not have come out. So you have to take it out anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess let's just get started on this front end then. Bash bar is off. I'm surprised it came off that easily, because to get it on required a lot of finessing or Drift Dad's muscles. Okay, so we disconnected the relay. We'll snip the wires that fed the relay that turned the fans on. Now Drift Dad can use his muscles to take the radiator out.
Big muscles. Big muscles. Where in this pristine garage do we set this?
I don't know, Mr. Set it on top of the 240. It better not make any damage or cause any.
Hey, we're gonna learn to do body work, so it doesn't really matter, right?
I guess just add one more vehicle to the list of that needs body work outside of the poor FRS.
And you can't complain. You hit a wall. You don't care about damage. First roadblock we had, we did think that we were gonna be able to get off this
radiator support.
The radiator support, but that is welded into the frame. So plan B is take off the intake manifold. We're going to take the subframe off. We're going to drop the engine and the transmission down. And then once we have the engine and transmission dropped, we're going to have space to get to the transmission. We're going to take the transmission off the engine while it's under the car. And we're going to pull the transmission back. And then we're going to pull the engine straight up out of the front. And then we'll roll the transmission out from the bottom. Is that the plan? Or are we being really stupid?
I don't know.
That's the great thing about doing this. You know, we're going to come across some problem and we're going to figure it out. And then somebody that may be watching the video would say, you guys are a bunch of friggin' idiots. But that's okay. Yes. I don't mind being an idiot. And certainly Alan doesn't either, do you, Alan?
A little bit, but it's okay. Here we are the next day. I know it is a common theme for us to basically get a bunch done off camera and then resume filming following morning.
But that would be a lie this time.
What do you mean?
We didn't get anything done.
Yeah, we did.
What'd we do?
I took off the intake manifold. I did all that stuff.
Okay.
But luckily this morning, the previous owner of this car actually reached out to me and gave me a couple tips as far as what he recommends with getting the engine and transmission out. And as far as how Drift Dad had recommended that we tackle it, it's gonna be a little bit different than that. Which is what I figured. Because I didn't think that way would be practical with lifting up the engine and getting underneath and then trying to take the transmission off.
What do I know? You should never be taking advice from me anyways on how to do this stuff, right?
I guess. But like we said, we're noobs. We don't know much, but we're learning.
Yep.
But yeah, Luke had mentioned that it would just be a lot easier if we just dropped the engine and transmission onto like some dollies. So that would require us to basically drop the front subframe, remove the transmission mounts, and then just lower the engine down onto these dollies that we actually just picked up from Harbor Freight this morning. And it's actually cool because he sent me some photos saying that you can do this job on the car without taking apart any fluid connections. So a big thank you to him for the recommendation. Well, let's see, what else am I forgetting? Because I know we did a lot last night in terms of preparing for pulling the engine this morning. Yeah, like I said, I did take off the intake manifold, and I have the this leveler here attached to the heads. That's where you're supposed to pull from what I've read on the internet. Hopefully that's not wrong. Oh, but yeah, that's the other thing. The power steering pump has to come off because it's bolted down right here where you need access to a bolt to hold the leveler on. So that's been removed, and oh, of course, we disconnected the lower control arm from the subframe. That's about it in terms of what needs to be disconnected. Oh, actually, no. We need to do something with the clutch lines because those are connected to the car still. Drift Dad's underneath the car. We have the transmission supported with the jack. He's just taking off the transmission mounts. And as soon as he gets that done, then I think we'll be good to disconnect the subframe from the frame of the car, have the majority of the weight being supported by the crane, and then just slowly lower the engine onto those dollies. Alright, so we have successfully lowered the engine and transmission onto their respective dollies. We'll be able to pull the hoist out as soon as Drift Dad gets the brackets off of the back of the heads. And then we'll have to lower the rear of the car onto the ground on the tires and then just lift up the front sky high and then just push the engine and transmission out of the way. But this is just so exciting, the fact that it's almost out. I mean, well, the engine is technically out. It's not bolted to the car anymore. I'm just so excited to see this thing on the engine stand.
5 years ago, somebody told me I'd be doing this with you. I'd say they're crazy.
Look at you now. We have the engine crane attached to the front part of the frame with one of my tow straps from when I used to go back mudding when I was younger. So now all we have to do is just jack the car up some and then slide this engine out.
I can't believe it's been this long. My love for you has grown so strong. It's like there's nothing going wrong. Me, oh my, I felt it suddenly. I used to be so unhappy, but then I realized you see my
Engine transmission is out, and now we're taking the transmission off the engine. So we got a custom-made transmission stand. A couple of tires that, according to Alan, are just too wide to drift on. Still unbelievable. Can't believe we're doing this.
Transmission bolts are out. Now we're just using a pickle to try to get the transmission off of the back of the engine. There we go. Is that it?
Yeah.
Nice. Not bad, not bad. Good job. Teamwork right there.
Alrighty. Taking the clutch off so that we can get it mounted on that stand over there. Now, I think you were getting a lot of slippage on that clutch, right?
Second gear and higher, when I would just mash the throttle, it would just rev up high and not move at all. So I'm expecting for the clutch to be super worn. And if it's not, then I don't know what the issue was towards the end of me drifting this thing.
How's it look?
I don't know. It looks like it has some life left, but
That don't look too bad, does it? I mean, it doesn't look glazed. I don't know, but I guess I'm not a clutch expert either, so.
What do you guys think? Drop a comment what you think about that clutch. So there you have it after a combined, what, maybe 10, 12 hours total?
8 hours. Yeah, 8 hours. That was it. Yeah, just 8 hours. When did we start? Last weekend on Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, really not bad for being complete amateurs when it comes to this engine stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool to see an engine on a stand just chilling right here. If you're wondering where the transmission went, it's actually in the back of the truck because I'm going to be taking that with me to Orlando to get rebuilt by some company. I forgot their name. But as always, we managed to make it work. But I'm pretty tired now. I could use a nice little nap and some food. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for what's going to happen next. It's going to be pretty cool. But we'll see you guys next time. Peace.